Accused of terrorizing and sexually assaulting two women in Memorial Park this summer will remain in custody.
This afternoon, new allegations surfaced regarding the teen's behavior. Our Brian Mastry is live in the newsroom with more.
Aaron, we aren't sharing his name because he was 13 when the alleged rape and assault occurred. Because of that, his case is in juvenile court, not adult court. Remember, that's all about rehabilitation and not punishment. Well, this afternoon, I sat in court when the judge revealed new information regarding his actions to another young person. A Douglas County Youth Center staffer wrote a report saying that on October 3rd, employers there told all the young people to come back inside the building. Well, the staffer says all came back except for two of them. And when they went to get them, the report states that this defendant had assaulted the other individual and was seen walking away and laughing about it. Let's take you back to the original reason why this now 14-year-old is in custody. In July, investigators allege he stole a car, approached two different women walking around Memorial Park, groped one of them and raped another. Investigators also accused him of threatening her life until the sound of police sirens and the police helicopter sent him off and running to a ravine. And then, while he was detained, investigators at the youth center in August accused the teen of exposing himself to a staff member. Aaron and John, juvenile judge Novak ordered the 14-year-old who appeared in court via Zoom to remain in custody at the youth center because he poses a safety risk to the community. We also learned today in court that psychiatric evaluation and the psychosexual evaluations, they are complete, but the reports aren't in yet. On your side in Omaha, Brian Mastry, 6 News.